Hello everyone, and welcome to Knife Craze. Today we're going to be taking a look at the SOG Seal Pup fixed blade knife. Now, this is a tactical knife made by SOG Specialty Knives and Tools, and it's actually one of my favorites in my collection. I didn't know about this knife until I was starting to use Amazon for most of my shopping. Wanting to buy a quality fixed blade knife, and I was tired of looking at the selection at Canadian Tire. I went on Amazon, scrolled through everything, and I thought, hey, you know what? Let me check out SOG. And I did, and this is what I found. I mean, along with tons of other stuff. This is one of the knives I found, and I'm really happy with it. So, first off, let's just review the knife. Okay, so like I said, it is a tactical knife in design. Now, I'm not a mall ninja or one of those tactical guys. I'm a knife collector, and I collect a wide range of knives. Combat, tactical, folding, you know, your traditional knives like the bucks, or even something as crazy and modern in design as this. So, starting off, let's measure it. Oh, kind of getting away from us there. Okay, so the overall length is about 9.5 inches from tip to bottom of the grip. Overall blade length is about 5 inches, with about 4.5 of that area, or 4.25, whatever, of that area being actually sharpened. Now, the blade is a combination blade, which means it has both serrations and it has a straight edge. Now, personally, when it comes to sharpening this knife, the serrations tend to get in the way a bit, especially if I'm using a ceramic slot sharpener, because normally I like to start at the very back of the blade and pull it all the way through, but having serrations on there, you can't really do that, because if you pull the serrations over the ceramic slot, you could damage the ceramic, which I do not want to do. The blade steel this knife uses, there's nothing on the grip or the blade itself mentioning what blade steel it uses, but I'm pretty sure it's AUS 6 or AUS 8. And the blade is powder coated for corrosion resistance and extra durability, which is kind of a nice feature. Okay, the grip I absolutely love. It fits in my hand perfectly. Yes, I know I have messy old hands. But yeah, the grip fits in my hand perfectly. It's actually kind of rough, because what they've done to the glass reinforced nylon handle is studded it with tons of these little bumps for extra grip. Now, of course, if it was wet out, this would be, you know, it'd be quite helpful. But if you're holding it any other time or without gloves, especially for long periods of time, it can actually become quite uncomfortable, almost like you're holding coarse sandpaper. Not complaining, I'm just saying it can become kind of uncomfortable. You have SOG embossed on both sides of the grip. And I forgot to mention this when I was talking about the blade, but it says right up there, SOG Seal Pup. I know the camera's being kind of fuzzy, sorry about that. It does have a pretty, fair-sized lanyard hole, so if you wanted to run a lanyard through there to wrap around your hand for extra, just to make sure the thing doesn't slip from your hand. I know I'm kind of getting jumbly with my words again. You can put a lanyard through there. Another thing I want to talk about this knife, it is a clip point blade. But not only that, what they decided to do with this knife, and I've actually seen this on some of the Vietnam War era SOG knives, they have, well, to a toned down degree, these swoops on the back of the blade. And what I see these for is kind of like extra finger grooves. You can rest your finger there if you want to get more control of the blade, or maybe if you want to choke up there, you could too. You could also do the same with your index finger. Now, that's what I see these being used for. Perhaps SOG has a different intended use for these, but that's just what I see it for. The back of the blade is kind of ground down, not to an edge at all, but it is ground down a little thinner than the actual center of the blade. So, that's obviously going to add in penetration. And I don't know, it just gives the knife a lot more of a cleaner aerodynamic, I guess you could call it. Probably not. You get what I'm saying. It looks cool, but this knife isn't just a showpiece. It's made out of rather good materials for a $50-something knife, and you know it's meant to last. If you were to use this, and like I'm not in the armed forces, but I'm just guessing the SOG designed this knife to be used by people in the armed forces in a combat or tactical situation. You know, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not in the armed forces, but I can imagine that that's what this is intended for. And it seems, by design, that it would be both practical and beneficial to have this knife on your side. Okay, so there's that beauty of a knife. Now let's talk about the sheath. Now, the sheath is a nylon. Now, it isn't exactly a weak nylon. It's actually pretty good for a nylon sheath, and it has some cool hidden features about it. First of all, it has some lanyard holes up here, so if you want to mount it onto some of your gear, you can do that. Lanyard holes are also present right down here. Kind of like on a woman, you know? There's a hole at the top and a hole at the bottom. I know, bad joke, don't get on my case about it. In here is a pocket for a multi-tool, a sharpening stone, or who knows, maybe even, you know, an AR magazine. Like I said, this knife is intended for, you know, combat. So if you're maybe serving overseas, you want to put an extra magazine in there, you could do that too. I know a lot of people don't like Velcro, and I kind of don't. This is one of the reasons why. Over time, the Velcro all gets pulled up, and it might start to come off. But so far, the Velcro has been holding on there. Not sure for how much longer. Now, personally in this pocket, I put in my Leatherman Wingman multi-tool. Just because I thought, hey, I got a knife, what if I want to use the pliers? You know, why not have it on there? The closure is actually a combination of Velcro and a button snap, and it's actually a really tough button snap for being plastic. I mean, I actually have to really apply a lot of force on there just to get it open. I don't mean to sound like a bitch about it, but seriously, that's a tough fucking button snap, excuse my language. Something about the sheath, where the knife actually slides into, there is a plastic, or I'm not sure if it's Kydex, probably Kydex slot in there, so that your actual sheath is not getting cut up. Now, on the other side, and I forgot to mention, you also, never mind, these aren't lanyard holes, those are little pins. Anyway, yeah, so you got your lanyard holes at the top and bottom, and you also have a MOLLE compatible system on the back of the sheath. So I've actually used this MOLLE, and I strapped it onto my SOG responder bag, which is my bug out bag. It's not on there right now, mostly because I'm in the city and I don't want to be carrying on my bug out bag a knife. I carry one on the inside, but you know, that's hidden away. That's not being seen by the public. It's not scaring people. I don't want to be carrying a all black tactical knife. Watch out, you know, how people react to tactical stuff in public. You know, I don't want that on the outside of my bag. But it can go on to a MOLLE compatible tactical vest, or like I said, a bag, and it actually goes on there pretty well. Now, one gripe I do have about this, and I'm not sure if this is how all MOLLE systems are, but these straps are rather tight to actually fit this large button through, and it actually has resulted in a little bit of ripping right there on the strap, which kind of pisses me off because I like to keep my knives in as best condition as possible. But there you go, guys. There is the review of the SOG Seal Pup. Now, video ain't over yet. Excuse the noise, that's my neighbor. Personal opinions. I think this knife is excellent. Like I said, I think it is intended for a combat or tactical role and was most likely made in response for troops overseas, judging by the name, particularly the Navy SEALs. Maybe they wanted a better knife than their Ontario Mark III Navy knife, so SOG came out with this. In fact, I remember reading somewhere that the Navy SEALs often discard their Mark III Navy knives and replace them with this. Not sure if it's true, that's just what I read. I absolutely love this knife and I intend to keep it in my collection. Wish people could stop making noise. I intend to keep it in my collection for as long as possible. Rating. I give this knife 10 out of 10 stars. For a medium-sized tactical knife that's both comfortable to hold backwards and forwards and has a combination blade which can aid in tougher cutting tasks or your basic cutting tasks, and considering it has that clip point for extra penetration, I definitely give this knife 10 out of 10 stars. The one thing that I would change on it is maybe making it a full tang, whereas the piece of metal that's the blade would go all the way around the grip so that you would be able to see it. That, of course, might not be able to facilitate a lanyard hole, but you never know. They could drill a hole through the metal. The blade thickness seems to be fine to me. I mean, it's not a heavy-duty knife that you're going to be smashing the hell out of. It is your medium-sized tactical knife. It's not a survival knife. It is something, and I know the liberals are going to hate hearing this. Who cares? They're whiny crybabies. This knife is designed to kill in a combat situation, alright? Not saying I'm killing people, just saying I'm pretty sure that's what it was designed to do. Well, there you go, guys. The SOG Seal Pup. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It helped me out a lot. If you wish to see more content in the future, please subscribe, and have a great night.